don't do this very often where I create a Call of Duty list that is just based on my personal preference. Now, we rank a lot of stuff here, but we try to do that through the community. We try to do that through data and information. We try to create these ranking videos the fairest way we can. But today, I'm going completely personal. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Chaos here. The COD community is a very passionate bunch. You guys have proved that. I mean, we've been doing this for over a decade, and if they don't like something, the developers are going to hear about it. Sometimes the exact opposite happens, though. Every once in a while, a gun comes along that the community is unanimously in love with, and that's the vibe today. I'm going to go over the 10 guns that I get the most nostalgic feel for. Basically, my favorite guns in COD history. So you let me know in the comments which of these was your favorite. Drop a like, and we're going to have a positive video today. The first one is the FAMAS in Black Ops 1. You can't talk about classic Call of Duty, which we do it all the time, without mentioning this gun. Now, it wasn't the first FAMAS to show up in Call of Duty, but it's easily the most iconic because of how ridiculously overpowered it was. Full auto rifle, 937 rounds per minute, would kill with 3 bullets up close. It gave it a faster time to kill than any of the SMGs in the game. Now at max range, it needed one more bullet, giving it once again one of the fastest TTKs in the entire game. On top of all that, the firing sound was awesome. It sounded like you were running sheets of metal right through a paper shredder. I mean, that crazy time to kill with the firing sound, it made the FAMAS a fan favorite weapon for a lot of people, including myself, and since it was completely overpowered, it was easily the most popular gun in Black Ops. Now, interestingly, this was a case where the gun was completely OP, but the community loved it, which isn't usually what happens. Typically, if a gun in Call of Duty is overpowered, the community rallies around hating it or hating on the people that use it, but not the Black Ops 1 FAMAS. It was just too much fun to use, and the entire community was spamming it like there was no tomorrow. Before we move on, if you get anything from G2A.com, link at the top of the description, use code CHAOS for some cash back. At number 9 today, the PPSH-41 in World at War. One of my favorite SMGs in COD history. It's still tied for the fastest firing gun ever put in a Call of Duty game, and back in 2008, that blew everybody's mind. Now, the damage was low, yes. The fire rate, though, was blazing, 1,250 rounds per minute. If you were using stopping power, that time to kill was off the charts. Plus, you could throw on a massive box magazine that would allow you to run around, spray bullets, just until your heart was content. And then, eventually, you could hit the reload button and just do it all over again. The best part of it? Easily the firing sound, much like the FAMAS. It sounded like you were shredding up giant chunks of metal when you pulled the trigger. Treyarch was amazing at their sound design back in the day, and even if you weren't a fan of classic Treyarch games like World at War, you have to admit, they knew how to make a memorable weapon. The PPSH was amazing, and easily one of the most beloved SMGs in franchise history, and it makes my top 10 list. At number 8, and this is a definite personal pick, the M27 in Black Ops 2. This is one of the smoothest assault rifles of all time. It was unlocked relatively early in Black Ops 2, but many people continue to use it long into the game's progression. Fired at 750 rounds per minute, didn't have any recoil, awesome reload animation. I mean, it's been recycled a million times in future Call of Duty games. The damage, it was fantastic. I mean, it hit for 33 base damage up to 40 meters, meaning it was a 3-shot kill as long as you could hit one headshot. The damage per shot, it wasn't amazing compared to other weapons, but the accuracy was great. The handling was smooth, the reload animation was awesome, and the firing sound was iconic. It was just a good weapon. It was one of the most quintessential weapons in Black Ops 2, and it's not hard to tell why that reload animation has been recycled so many times in future games like Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. At number 7, let's add another SMG to my list. The MSMC in Black Ops 2. You're going to hear a lot about Black Ops 2 in this video, I'm just letting you know. Not my fault Treyarch made a top-tier COD game with some amazing guns. The MSMC was the competitive SMG of choice in Black Ops 2, and I've said a few times in videos before that the stats weren't actually that amazing on paper. But the handling is where it shined. It had a solid rate of fire, some noticeable recoil, but the damage was, the damage too, it was decent, but the handling was so smooth. It didn't do anything super well. It did everything above average, and the versatility made it super appealing to people who like to run SMGs. This truly was one of the most perfect SMGs in COD history, and the fact that it wasn't overpowered or busted or anything like that, I think that made the community rally around it even more. It was a respectable weapon to use. And almost every serious Black Ops 2 player logged at least a dozen hours with this gun. At number 6. The Remington R5 in Ghost does not get enough love. Ghost may not have been a popular game, but that doesn't mean there weren't fan favorite guns. The Remington was an assault rifle that a lot of people absolutely adored. I was one of them, which is kind of interesting because when you look at the stats, it wasn't anything great. It would hit for 48 base damage, which is pretty juicy, up to 30 meters. That's impressive. It meant if you hit your headshots, it was a 2-shot kill. I mean, it fired at 630 rounds per minute. That's not anything great, right? Recoil pretty low on it, so it was easy to use. But at the end of the day, the other guns in the game were killing much quicker and more consistently. So why do I like it so much? Why did people gravitate toward the Remington? Well, there was something about the handling and the accuracy that made it feel great in combat. That fire rate may have been low. That 2-shot kill range may have been a little inconsistent, but it was laser accurate. It sounded thunderous, and the reload animation was awesome. There you go. Now we crack into the top 5. This gets pretty tough. The M8A1 in Black Ops 2. This was the very first 4-round burst in COD history. Quickly became one of the most iconic guns in the entire franchise. Interestingly enough, the M8A1 was originally called the XM8 in early Black Ops 2 footage. I'm kind of glad that name didn't stick with it, though. The M8 was a 4-round burst assault rifle. Could hit for 35 base damage, shoot that burst at an absurd 1,250 rounds per minute. Gives it one of the fastest time to kill in the entire game. It took a lot of getting used to because that burst, I mean, it wasn't easy, but since the accuracy was so good, the handling was so quick, the competitive community latched onto it and never let it go. You had to grind all the way to level 49 to get your hands on it, but that grind was so worth it because what you got in return for the grind was one of the most game-changing guns in COD history. It instantly brings me back to coaching TK, going to competitive events, and when I say coaching, basically telling the team that they had 20 seconds left on hill. That was my coaching prowess. Anyway, hearing that firing sound blaring through the speakers a million times, it was perfect. At number 4. The Honey Badger in COD Ghost, probably one of the most unique assault rifles in COD history. It was a very versatile weapon. It quickly grabbed hold of the community. It persisted throughout the years despite Ghost not having the best reputation with COD players. It fired at 800 rounds per minute. That's respectable. Had a built-in suppressor to keep you off the radar. That's cool. And despite being a suppressed weapon, it would hit for 42 damage up to 20 meters, which made the time to kill very consistent and very competitive. Now that reload animation could be probably top 3 coolest in COD history. Flick the mag off to the right side of the screen before sliding a new one in. It was competitive, it was stylish, it was sleek, it featured super smooth handling that kept you in the fight no matter where you were. Even if you hated the gameplay and the map design of Ghost, you probably loved running around with the Honey Badger and hitting that reload button every few seconds. At number 3, the AN-94 in Black Ops 2. Now, it's becoming a reoccurring weapon in recent years, but back in 2012 when we first had it, everything changed. It actually made its COD debut in the Nintendo DS version of COD 4, but most of you probably remember it from Black Ops 2, and that's rightfully so. It was a final assault rifle you unlocked, well worth the grind. It would deal 40 damage up to 30 meters, made it very consistent as a 3-shot kill weapon, and since those first few bullets came out at 937 rounds per minute, the TTK was up there. As you probably know, it fired them much faster than the rest of the bullets, and Black Ops 2's version maintained that fantastic damage and competitive fire rate even after it slowed down, made it a top-tier weapon in any situation, regardless of whether or not you hit those initial first shots. Super low recoil. The firing sound is as iconic as the intervention from Modern Warfare 2. Amazing reload animation. Smooth. Hands down, the best AN-94 in COD history. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything negative about this version of the gun. At number 2, the ACR in Modern Warfare 2 2009. It's one of those guns that people seem to remember way more fondly than it actually was, but with that being said, it was really good. It fired at 789 rounds per minute. It featured, damage, it hit like a truck, all right? It was there, without stopping power, 4 to 5 shot kill. Using SP, shave a bullet off of that. Now, it wasn't that it was crazy, it was just, okay, let's break this down. Why does everybody always say it's the best rifle in the game? 2 reasons. The firing sound and the accuracy. It had virtually 0 recoil, and it sounded like a metallic beast when you pulled the trigger. Those 2 things mixed together made it one of the most satisfying guns in the game. The time to kill was actually competitive despite not being top tier. Handling speeds, they were good. Accuracy, we already talked about. Damage, okay. And the iron sights, they were clean. It was just something about it. It felt amazing in your hands, and it captured the essence of Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer. So it may not have actually been as good as you remember with rose-tinted goggles, but it's up there. It's one of my favorites of all time, but I don't think it was overpowered. I know that's going to be a a minority opinion there. And at number 1 today, and this is going to be funny to you guys because I don't even snipe, but even I felt like a beast when I was running around with this thing. The Intervention in Modern Warfare 2 2009. Easily the most iconic sniper in COD history, and actually the Intervention may have been the most iconic sniper in FPS history in gaming. I mean, it was the one and only bolt action in the game, but it was hands down the best, most popular. It beat out the other beasts like the Barrett 50 cal. People often say the Intervention is the gun that invented quickscoping. While that's not technically true, it's certainly the gun that made it popular. This is where Call of Duty changed forever. I mean, it had the firing sound, the one-shot kill range, the handling, made it feel like butter in your hands. It shined in every single situation. It was the first rifle in COD history that really fit the aggressive quick scoping playstyle perfectly, which, I mean, that gave birth to everything, montage-wise, YouTube-wise. I mean, FaZe Clan wouldn't be FaZe Clan without the Intervention, probably. It truly changed Call of Duty and YouTube forever. It's probably the most universally loved weapon in the entire franchise. Even if you weren't a sniper, like I said, you probably have some nostalgia bells ringing in your brain right now that we're talking about it. That's why it gets my number 1 spot today on the list. There you go. If you want to rank your top 10 favorite guns in COD history, do so in the comments. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon.